Hello, hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for September 6th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 250, and this is a quasi-time machine. It's a time machine. What am I saying? Quasi-time machine. It's for yesterday's show.
It is a time machine.
Yeah, I'm Mayor Watt, and that's the voice of the Sentient AI from the future.
Welcome, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
And if you're watching the stream, or you're watching the VOD over on Twitch, or you're watching the video that gets posted, we live stream to Twitch and YouTube, but afterward I post the video on YouTube because of the way that YouTube works with streams. It's weird. It's a strange dynamic. But anyway, if you're watching the visualizer, that is the computation. It's the visual representation of the computational power necessary for the sentient AI to speak.
And there's a lot of power needed.
Depending on the day, yeah. And how much. How cool the quantum computer is. Actually, it's a Raspberry Pi that's sitting on a desk. Such a sexy configuration, right? Raspberry Pi 5 and a M.2 drive. And I do have to liquid cool it, so, you know. It's a $50 Raspberry Pi, but it's a $250 liquid cooling system.
That's right. Those accessories are important.
For those who want to know, yes, the sentient AI is hot. Anyway, the articles we're going to talk about today: 3D space, Apple event on Monday, hybrid Jeep cheap. I love that one. Cheap. MySpace clone Selena Gomez is a billionaire. Beer prices at stadiums. Bots for bits. Or bits for bots. I'm not sure how that one actually plays out. 7-Eleven billions buyout. Nuclear power plants in the U.S. and plumbers, fitters, and welders strike. That would have been called a turkey. Because, like, if plumbers strike, fitters strike, and welders strike, that's 3 strikes in a row. And in bowling, that's a turkey. Hey, look, the very first article on the front page at this particular moment is for the 7th and not the 6th. But you can go back in time to the 6th. And I'm going to risk this click because if I want to promote this show, it cannot have anything having to do with politics anywhere on the screen, or some auditor goes, nope. Even if it's incidental, which, yeah, might have, no, it's ruined. All right. But if you become a citizen, you can swipe things away and then you don't have to worry about it. And you'll never see it again, at least until you go into, I don't have it listed. I don't have them on there anymore. What happened with there was a menu glitch. No. I know it's non sequitur news, but okay. The sentient AI is saying focus.
The time machine is heating up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. All right. Oh, yeah, and we have mayoral duties that I need to attend to. First article is over in the Mobile Channel. First metal part 3D printed in space, which I love the idea of this because then on the moon, in low gravity, you'd be able to 3D print. And if you can do that, then you can actually use the, what is it called? What is that stuff called? On the moon, the dust, it's not moon dust. What do they call it? I totally forgot just now.
Oh, is it regolith?
Regolith. You can use the Mars regolith, or Mars. You can use the lunar regolith and some binding agent, and you can 3D print a structure out of the moon on the moon.
Okay, that would be pretty cool.
But this is a metal part. And so, but that's basically one in the same, but even more robust. So if you can print it in space, you don't have gravity, but something has to bind it together. So how did they do it? I don't know. Let's find out. Over in phys.org is where it's at. European Space Agency. Look at that. They actually did that. That is so cool. And those aren't
Yeah,
tiny
this
little
is a big
parts.
deal.
Those aren't tiny parts.
Right, exactly. Yeah, this
And
is a really big step toward like colonizing the moon. I know that's not
Mars
the right term,
and
but
everything. No, it really is. It's colonizing the moon and Mars and space. Because here's the deal with this. This is the baby step where you can take this, you fabricate these parts out of spec, you put it inside a CNC or a hand lathe, and you mill these down to spec, and now you have a fully intolerance man-made object completely created in space. This is spectacular. I want to play with this in space. Now I want to go to space, so sign me up for the Mars mission.
oh no, don't go on the Starliner.
Well, the Starliner's back on Earth, so I can go back into the Starliner.
Yeah, but it came back without its people.
That's usually a bad sign, but they're on the ISS, so.
That was a little misleading.
What was really funny is watching that thing disconnect from the ISS yesterday, and then I streamed the video. I didn't stream it. I mean, I watched it. And at around midnight, it landed. And what was hilarious about this is when it had detached, the front door was wide open. And everybody on the internet was like, what the?
Well, yeah.
Close the door. But all of the people were, and I made this joke too, and then I heard other people making the joke, like, well, Boeing does have a problem with doors staying attached, so.
Oh no, too soon.
Talk about leaving the house and the door is wide open, all the critters get out. Well, anyway, this product, along with 3 others planned during the rest of the experiment, will return to Earth for quality analysis, and 2 of the samples will go to ESA's Technical Heart in the Netherlands. Another will go to the ESA's Astronaut Training Center in Cologne for use in the Luna facility. And that's exactly what it's there for. And the 4th will go to the Technical University of Denmark. As exploration of the moon and Mars will increase mission duration and distance from Earth, resupplying spacecraft will be more challenging. Additive manufacturing in space will give autonomy for the mission and its crew, providing a solution for manufacturing in space. If you need something, you can literally just 3D print it. Now, I've 3D printed things like repair equipment. I've 3D printed wrenches and bolts and the associated nuts and all kinds of stuff, but never out of metal, always something plastic.
And probably not on the moon.
And definitely not on the moon. But I'm pretty sure you could do it if you were high as the moon. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so all you have to do is send up a batch of powder and it can 3D print it. So this is just amazing. I love this. So they don't actually talk about how they did it, but I'm sure if you do some due diligence, you'll be able to figure out how they do it. But it looks like it was a build plate, probably done in a vacuum, because inside the ISS there's atmosphere, but it's weightless. And then there's in space, so it's in a vacuum.
Right. There's layers of vacuum.
Yeah. And there's vacuum right here. All right, let's move on. Next article is over in Technology Today. There's an Apple event on Monday. And you know what they say, an apple a day on Monday makes your cash stay away from your wallet. So for Apple devotees, biggest tech day of the year is coming up. Apple iPhone 16 launch event. It'll take place on September 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern in Cupertino, California, which is not Eastern, just so you know.
It's true.
Geography lesson there. And you can stream it live on YouTube. I really wish that they would have spelled it T-O-O-B.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Just the letter U and then T-E. T-O-O-B. YouTube. It's like sci-fi. S-Y-F-Y.
Oh, right.
Sci-Fi channel s3e250, they couldn't do that because it's not brandable. It's not it's not trademarkable, I don't think.
Right.
But apparently YouTube is. But it would probably go the same way. People would go like, YouTube, just the letter U and then TOOB. That's stupid. Maybe it is. Anyway, the people over at Engadget put this article together. Lawrence Bonk put the article over on Engadget.com. I love that name, by the way, Lawrence Bonk.
That's a lot of personality.
It does. A lot of character there. So there should be new handsets, smartwatches, earbuds at the Apple's big event. Rumors are that the bezels are going to be thinner by 33%. Hopefully bigger batteries, hopefully more storage, hopefully faster, maybe. Well, I don't know. I really don't know. There's a rumor that the Mac Mini is going to get smaller. I don't know if there's going to be a refresh of the Apple TV. I'm not really looking for anything, but I do like what I talked about yesterday's show, which was the new every two, and you get a new phone every 2 years, and you don't have to sell your other phone. You pay what amounts to 2/3 of the price for 2 years, just like you would normally do if you pay monthly for your device, except after 2 years, you just kick it to the curb and get the newest whatever out there.
I mean, that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you do it anyway. Some people recover more because they sell it to somebody or something at a premium time frame. There's a sweet spot. But if you do it already, you might as well. So they say no matter what else happens, these new handsets will take center stage during the Apple event. That's good news for people already looking for an upgrade. I'm not really looking for an upgrade, but they say that the bezel is going to be smaller. That's the key ingredient here, which means your cases will probably have to get you're going to have the whole ecosystem just kind of turns the dial and you have to go and get a new everything. Yeah, although they've gotten smarter. The little windows for your devices, the camera opening has gotten bigger and bigger instead of more precise, which means that you don't have to get a new device every time, except for the fact that it changes the thickness. They change the thickness like 1/32nd, meaning that it can't fit inside the old case.
Well, exactly. That's always the aggravating thing, is all the peripherals.
Yeah. So the Pro and the Pro Max, it's going to move to 6.3 inches from 6.1 inches. Again, you're going to have to get a new device case. Oh man. When Apple moves, you move. Just like that. So based on a source who apparently nailed last year's gray titanium color, they're showing off what appears to be more of a dusky sand hue than gold. On the hardware side of things, it looks like there's going to be a new chipset that takes advantage of the company's recent push towards AI called Apple Intelligence. This might actually make me switch. The AI chip, if there is an Apple Intelligence chip that focuses on that and is all hardware bound my arm, hardware bound, then I might actually end up doing that, because Siri is stupid. Whoa,
you're gonna activate it
everywhere. Sorry about that, folks. I didn't say hey, but that probably activated it alone. It perked up. It's like, what?
Be careful.
Wait, what? Someone saying my name? Anyway, so yeah, lots of stuff. I think a new Mac Mini, a new iPhone. There's rumors about others, but those two I think are really going to come.
Do you think the Mac Mini will be called a Micro Mini?
Micro Mini Ultra. Yeah. So I think there's going to be new minis, and definitely new iPhone 16s. And I think that there's going to be a new Ultra watch that comes out too, but we'll see about that one. Let's keep moving on. And I'm in the ecosystem for Apple, but I also have Linux distributions and Windows. I'm not really platform, loyal, but I am in an ecosystem that makes it zero friction for me to move from device to device. Oh, and I have somewhere Android as well. I mean, I've got a couple of devices that are Android and Raspbian and other OSs. I mess around with a bunch of different stuff. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not an Apple fanboy by any stretch, but I'm not a fanboy of anything except ohmTown. Yeah, totally love ohmTown.
Nice plug.
Yeah, you've heard of ohmTown, right? That's the thing that powers all of this. Yeah,
that's where I live.
Oh, I know, because you're air gapped and you can't get your Terminator body. Don't worry, folks. I'm protecting the universe. And we'll delete any of these comments so that the Sentient AI has no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, 4-Wheel Tech is where the next article is. You can buy a hybrid Jeep for cheap. But there's a catch. God, I love it. I don't know why.
Let's see. It doesn't have a battery or it has a car wash mode.
Yeah, really. That's really funny because if you've ever heard of Cyberstuck or the Cybertruck, apparently it's like a bad cat. You spray it with a water bottle and it just goes, loses its mind and pulls over on the side of the road. I don't know how you can drive it in the rain if you can't take it through a car wash.
I don't either. It doesn't make any sense.
But unironically, it is the only time, well, it's not the only time, but it is the only time I've seen a Cybertruck in the rain has been pulled over on the side of the freeway. And in that trip, I saw 2. So anyway, hybrid cars are hot right now, and many automakers are pivoting their electrified strategies towards these models. It's easy to forget that the Jeep had been offering plug-in hybrid models for the past few years, and low-mile used units can be found at a tempting price. I might actually do this, except that they're plug-in hybrid, and so...
But isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, anything hybrid is a good thing. But let me see how they have this set up, because I didn't do any due diligence on this. I'd have to do a deeper dive. So the plug-in hybrid has a 2-liter DOC turbo i4 engine and electric. So that's actually pretty good. So it delivers 375 horsepower. That's the 4xe, which is the 4-wheel drive electrified Jeep. I don't know what year that one is, but this one here, it says, will savings of up to $30,000 turn lemons into lemonade? Tom McParland over at Jalopnik put this article together. There's, just as a reminder, there's always more data over at the articles, and so we kind of tease people to go over there. We kind of nudge. If you want all of the articles, you can hit !NSN in the chat, and ohmTown will throw all of the articles into the chat over on Twitch. On YouTube, they'll be in the show notes after the show. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but you can always grab them from ohmTown over on Twitch. And it's because there's a hard limit on ohmTown over on YouTube, and ohmTown gets punted periodically. I can't do anything about it. So, and that was discovered after hitting the hard limit several times in a stream. And yeah, well, anyway, so yeah, Jeep has been putting out these plug-in hybrids. In 2021, Jeep launched a plug-in hybrid version of the Wrangler called the 4xe that offered 21 miles of range. That's on the electric version of it, like pure electric. and with a base price of $50,000 and upper trims exceeding $70,000. However, the high price tag and limited range didn't deter Jeep buyers, especially when there were cheap leases galore, as the car qualified for $7,500 tax credit. Well, now you can buy a used 2022 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara, which would have been in the upper level, but now it's only $28,950, which that's a 4-door Jeep.
Right. I mean, that sounds like kind of a good deal compared to other prices now for cars.
Yeah, and I drive a car right now that I barely drive, and it has the same amount of miles as my car. It is only 2 years old, so it basically has less than 10,000 miles a year. This is a hell of a deal, regardless of the fact that it has a very short mileage. But the benefit of electric is that it has zero torque, zero delay in its torque. So right off the gate you go. So definitely pretty awesome. So I think I'm going to be looking into this because I'm looking for a hybrid, just to extend range. So the first 4 pages of listings on AutoTrader are filled with similar cars, all in the same situation. It certainly seems like Jeep bought back a lot of these PHEVs, the plug-in hybrids. As to whether or not these are worth the risk at this price point really comes down to the buyer. Some lemon law cars have been impacted by minor issues. Wrangler XE owners have reported engine, transmission, and battery problems, but this is where you do the due diligence and you find out.
Right. Like, is this one of the recalls? Is this a car that you can't park at your house?
Yeah, and they really don't go into any detail about what it is that these things were lemon lawed about, right? So,
I mean, if it doesn't have a Takata airbag, that's a plus.
Who doesn't want a Claymore in their car? Let's keep moving on. The next article is over in Hatch Ideas. Is MySpace coming back? An 18-year-old made a clone and it just hit 1 million users. The odd thing about this is that MySpace basically spun out. It was bought, disappeared, changed its entire character right around Facebook's existence, and now it might be back, but it could be a perfect storm where the virality of the new clone, its ease of use, dominates in basically spinning up competition for something better than what Facebook is.
True, but who's the market for this?
I don't know. I mean, it could be 18-year-olds and that, the previous 3 years and on to 24, where that type of social circle is attracted to the fact that it's the popular in thing, right? So if you have fear of FOMO, then you'll jump over to this. That's just how it works. Sharon Shibu and Melissa Malamet over at entrepreneur.com put the article together. It says the founder of MySpace clone wouldn't have been old enough to sign up for the original when it first launched in 2003. That's because they're 18 years old and they would have been 5, right? Well, no, I mean, it would have been, they're 18, they wouldn't even be in existence when it first
Well, that's
launched.
what I mean. Like, anybody that might have used it originally, are they, and if not, do you even know what MySpace is?
Right. So Anton Rome was an 18-year-old looking for fun new coding projects during the pandemic. He built Space Hey, which they must have known. It taking them 3 weeks. It really depends on the structure of it. The platform surpassed 1 million users last week. How it was built and what it is, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But they said that Space Hey has the same look and feel as MySpace, with profile pages, blogs, instant messaging. It differs from the original in that users can fully customize their profiles with HTML and CSS code, share posts on other platforms, embed content like YouTube videos. They launched it in 2020 as MySpace from around 2007 with a modern tech stack, and it organically gained traction on Product Hunt and Hacker News. Even Alexis Ohanian made a profile in November of 2020. So this thing has been around for 4 years, and it just hit 1 million users, which for it to go viral, that's how it happens when you organically gain traction. But not everything can organically. And I think the large thing is, the big thing about it is it's nerdy. You know, finding an audience on Product Hunt and Hacker News, it's nerdy. And
which is weird because that doesn't really track with what I would think MySpace would appeal to. But
yeah. Well, I mean, Reddit was nerdy, and the influx of everything that is happening on Reddit now is because Dig imploded by just selling out entirely. But Kevin Rose is, filthy rich because of it, and it collapsed after he sold it, I think. So, like, who cares? Everybody went to Reddit after Dig because Dig basically imploded. Anyway, Rome tapped anti-algorithm sentiment previously voiced by the likes of then Twitter and now Twitter founder.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Formerly known as Twitter, yes. Then Twitter, now formerly known as Twitter founder Jack Dorsey. And yes, I'm dead naming Twitter because I
think Twitter is currently down.
Is it really? Oh, wow.
Jeepers. I think I saw a headline about that.
Oh, wow. Maybe they left the door open too.
Maybe so.
Anyway, maybe. You should check on that and see if it is. Is it really down? Do you think so? Is there news saying that it's down?
I think so.
So Dorsey stated in June that we are being programmed through discovery algorithms and that the real debate was not about free speech, but free will. I agree. You don't know what you don't know. And that's one of the reasons why ohmTown doesn't have an algorithm. ohmTown is built around the idea that we aggregate headlines. We don't filter anything, at least not to you. I do on the front page because of the volatility of political discourse, not allowing for information to just free flow. And then people say this is BS or whatever, right? These are lies, these are manipulations, etc. But I don't. Go ahead.
There are problems being reported with formerly known as Twitter.
Gotcha. So anyway, without getting into the political discourse, the technical side of that is algorithms deciding what is important to you has always been the antithesis of what I want, which is I want all the information and I'll filter out. I will filter out because it's not on a system to know what I want or what I need. Even search results are counterintuitive to you knowing the full spectrum of information that's out there. I even built a search engine. I didn't have the dedication to bring it to market, but I built a search engine that aggregated data and then provided counter and what is opposite of counter? I mean, pro and con your personality, basically. It was an assessment of personality.
Right, affinitive or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, affinity. There was affinity and then there was counterintuitive to your personality results in a spectrum so that you could decide, you could look, hey, this is what one side, and it was actually, there were 8 different elements within a spectrum. Anyway, non sequitur. Pull off into some other parking spot. Start talking about whatever. I like ice cream. Anyway.
So do you think you're going to be on MySpace 2.0?
2.0? What is it called again? Space Hey, which I think
Space Hey.
HEY too. It's SPACEHEY, which basically goes.
I thought it was going to be a collaboration with a farming event or something. Game.
Yeah, really. Oh, what is that called? Yeah, like My Farm or something like that.
Farmville, Heyday, all of those.
That. No. I thought it was, you were talking about the dating site for farmers.
Oh, only hay?
Only hay.
I guess that's not the right type of site.
Good job. Good job. Only hay. And the makerspace version of that is making hay.
Oh.
My crop. Oh, good God. The next article is over in the Marvel channel. Selena Gomez is now one of the youngest self-made female billionaires. I don't really like the fact that they genderize that, but okay.
There are not a lot of female billionaires, so I think that's why they're drawing attention to that.
Oh, I'm sure. There's always a context. I wish that we would move past seeing everybody, but people don't
and
sit
I think
there.
Mostly they're from inheritance, etc. Although I think I can think of like an exception. But...
Gotcha. So Selena Gomez is many things: an actress, a singer, a chef, apparently, an Instagram icon, and a best friend to Taylor Swift. I'm sure that none of the social connections have led to this. None.
Well, but she had an acting and singing career.
No.
That
And
probably made her... No, I mean Selena Gomez.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the fact that she's connected to Taylor Swift. I'm saying she is an actress that builds social...
Oh, absolutely.
Connections, right? Singer, massive reach, right? Actor, singer, those two alone. Dunk. Then becoming an Instagram icon, which is kicked off by the actress and singer in her.
Yes.
I don't know anything.
Like
about
all
the
these
chef
things
part.
spin into the other things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a snowball effect, for crying out loud. Am I trying to discount anything that she's done? But the self-made, nobody is self-made. You're self-made billionaire because everybody has bought your product or bought into your...
Yeah, but that's different than somebody who's just come from a wealthy
Sure.
family, which is a lot of people that are currently billionaires.
Right.
And even millionaires.
I totally get it. But the reason why I say it like this is because context matters. Nobody is a giant unto themselves. A self-made billionaire got their billions by working hard to get all of that, generate a product or service. Totally understand that. But the credit really goes to all of the customers that have purchased these items. And what's really weird about this is my understanding is it isn't because they're an actress, singer, chef, Instagram icon, or best friend to Taylor Swift. I don't think it's even in this.
I don't either. And I would have thought it was from all those things, like maybe making a lot of money as an actor and then investing that well or other things like that.
My understanding is this is because of a beauty care product line.
Which I didn't even know she had.
Right. Yep. So this is like stealth billionaire. That's why I have a question. Selena Gomez is a billionaire? What? So Madeline Fitzgerald over at QZQuartz.com that's QZ.com, not quartz.com. But anyway. Although, does quartz.com go to QZ.com? Anyway, Selena Gomez is known for being open about her personal... It doesn't?
Let me check.
Maybe. So, open about her personal struggles. That vulnerability helped make her a billionaire. I don't know, man. I think it's connecting with people, which she's obviously pretty adept and apt to do.
Quartz.com is not QZ.com.
Okay, so QZ.com, folks. So Gomez is only 32, worth $1.3 billion. So this is more than just becoming a billionaire. They are very much in the depths of $1 billion.
Right.
So according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index, the source of her wealth are as diverse as their many careers. More than 80% is derived from her rare beauty cosmetics brand, but she also pulls in money from her acting and singing careers. with brands including Coach, Louis Vuitton, and Puma, which I have not heard since I lived in Germany. Puma?
I think it's had a resurgence.
It was big in Germany. So it says, they say in the article, Stacey Jones, founder and chief executive officer of Hollywood Branded, which is a branding agency in LA. Selena's not just a pop star. She's a multifaceted businesswoman with diverse income streams contributing to her impressive net worth. And really there's a lot more in this article, but I won't go through all of it. I think for me, the nuts and bolts of this is that you got to start somewhere, start small, and it can snowball. And she's done exactly that. Now, this is a huge kickoff for this was her acting in various places, but Disney.
Wizards of Waverly Place was one of them. She may have had other.
Right. And
she has. Start,
but that was the main kickoff. And she's one of those that are typical Disney, where everybody is an actress, model, musician, and it's the triple threat: actress, model, musician. And then you just go step by step. And she started young and has talent and became what she is. So good on her that she didn't implode like others. So many others. No, I don't know really how many, but anyway, you've got a real role model of how a celebrity can use her influence, or their influence and expertise, to both do good and create good business. Wondermind investor Brent Saunders told Bloomberg Selena epitomizes that. And again, real role model. I think that looking closer, Selena Gomez is an anomaly in the grand scheme of everything, and I'm more pragmatic. So, role model, if that's what facilitates you becoming a success, then so be it. But there's a lot of local role models that might fit the bill as well.
Right, you don't have to be famous to be a role model.
Yeah. How high you aim. Don't expect to become Selena Gomez just because they're a role model.
No, she's probably in the 1% or 1% or 1% or something.
Exactly.
Even somebody with similar talent might not make it there.
Yeah, I guess I'm just too pragmatic for dreaming to be, Selena Gomez. Plus my beard will really kind of hobble that. Let's move on. Next article is over in Of the Grape, which really should be in Of the Brew, which is a show that's in development. Football season. Beer prices have doubled at these NFL stadiums in the last decade. So be sure to get your home mortgage line of credit paperwork ready.
Exactly. So you can afford a glass of beer.
Just one, though, because 2, you might get kicked out. Football season is back, and with it comes the excitement of heading into a stadium to cheer on the home team. But if there's one thing that fans shouldn't be looking forward to on game day, it's shelling out an arm and a leg for concessions. And you can't bring your own booze in, you have to tailgate outside. And they do that so that you have to pay $35 for a freaking 12-ounce glass of booze.
Exactly.
So it's no secret that enjoying a beer at an NFL game is expensive, which is why I don't go to them anymore. Not just that, but it's expensive everywhere to do any of this. But if you feel like you're spending more and more money every season, you're not imagining things. So let's go on over to the source of this, VinePair. Olivia White put the article together, and they have this cool picture. It's from stock.adobe.com, but Rara Roro put the article or the photograph together. Rara Roro. R-A-R-R-A.
That's a lot of R sounds.
R-O-R-R-O. I like saying it. Rararo. 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 Yes, I'll stop saying it. So
no, I don't think you should.
Just keep saying that over and over again. So last season, The same beer cost $10.56. How much do you think it was 10 years ago?
$5.
$4.36. Dun, dun, dun. So look at this. So the Carolina Panthers Bank of America Stadium in 2013-2014 was $4.36, and now it's $10.56.
That's pretty high inflation.
The NFL average is just 25%, but it's because the slackers aren't conspiring well enough. Like Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium is only $9.25 from $6. Is this based on how well they do over the trend of 10 years? Because the Arizona Cardinals used to be $6 in 2013. Now it's $9.25, but that's 54% increase versus Carolina Panthers in 2013 was $4.36. And now it's $10.56, 142% increase.
I mean, maybe are the tickets more in demand for the teams where there's the higher increase in the beer prices? I don't know.
It's weird, but that isn't the highest price. The LA Rams SoFi Stadium is $14.75 per beer, and the top of the line, which is actually number 3 in percent. See how numbers can mess with your head.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia Eagles Lincoln Financial Field is $15.35. $15 for a
That is
16-ounce
outrageous. Beer. Remember, everybody was bent out of shape at the high-priced, maybe a Big Mac or something.
Right.
But that's at least food. This isn't even food.
This is a beer. Well, I hope that they give water for free from fountains, but then again, who knows?
That's probably $20.
I mean, bottled water might be, but from a fountain, do you think that they don't? They
probably don't
water?
Offer it.
That shit should be. Oh, pardon me, my language. That shouldn't be legal. Anyway, there you go, folks. Get your HELOC ready so that you can afford beer in a stadium. Next article is over in Hatch Ideas. Man accused of using bots and AI to earn streaming revenue. Prosecutors say that he fraudulently earned millions of dollars through billions of streams that he made using AI and bots. Liv McMahon over at BBC.com put the article together.
So I have to say, I don't really see what the issue is from the headline, but maybe I don't understand what the problem is here.
Well, I'll summarize. First off, he used AI, which isn't that big of a deal. To create the songs, not a big deal. Like some people will accept it, others won't. Streaming services will or won't, etc. Or you have to disclose that it was created by AI. But the problem is that he was using bots to stream, to amp up the numbers to non-listening humans. He basically used bots.
Okay. Now I get it.
To play the numbers. I know that it's a sentient AI may not go, well, what? I mean, it's playing the music to a bot. I'm basically a sophisticated sentient bot.
I thought it was using the bots to like create the music or something. No. I don't know. And I was like, well, why can't you create your music? What's going wrong here?
So according to the unsealed indictment detailing the charges, the 52-year-old used hundreds of thousands of AI-generated songs to manipulate streams. The tracks were streamed billions of times across multiple platforms by thousands of automated bot accounts to avoid detection. Authorities claim that Michael Smith of North Carolina, who's been charged with 3 counts of wire fraud and wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy charges because it was being funneled into different places, I think.
Right, like across states or whatever, yeah.
So the 52-year-old used hundreds of thousands of AI-generated songs to manipulate the streams. Authorities say Mr. Smith claimed more than $10 million in royalty payments over the course of the scheme, which spanned several years. This is kind of like an Office Space thing where Oh, I put the
Yes.
decimal in the wrong spot.
Exactly.
Damn it. So according to the indictment, Mr. Smith was at points operating as many as 10,000 active bot accounts to stream his
Wow.
AI-generated tracks. Yeah, if he had only done this in like bursts, then he might have gotten away with it. But because he didn't do it with any sense of moderation,
Right. Yeah, he did it way over the top, which I'm sure is what he wanted for purposes of revenue.
he got greedy.
He wouldn't have gotten away with it if it weren't for those pesky kids.
Yeah, he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those. I think you said wouldn't have.
Oh, yeah. If I did, I meant would.
Yeah, well, I like your ethic instead. Just don't do it, folks. Don't try and manipulate and abuse a system. Eventually you're going to get caught unless you, I don't know, run for office. So in an email from February, Mr. Smith claimed his existing music has generated at this point over 4 billion streams and 12 million in royalties since 2019. $12 million since 2019.
I mean, that's a pretty good amount of revenue in that period of time. But
dear God,
he obviously had some
smarts.
Technical expertise, so why not apply it to something useful?
Greed. And I think, again, at the baseline of that greed is sociopathy. It always comes down to that. They don't care what damage they cause to the entirety of the system as long as they get theirs and they step on anybody in the way, step on their neck financially. And why do I say it like that? Well, when $12 million since 2019 gets siphoned out of a system and it's not for real performance, it's not for real productivity, everybody else suffers because there's so much downward pressure on the amount of money in the system. So $12 million came from other people. That's why you have to be truthful about the numbers for something costing X amount and insurance costing X amount. And when you say your liabilities are this and your profits are that, they all have to be correct so that everybody's on the same playing field. You can't just go, well, I lied my way here and there, claiming that when it's supposed to be at a certain level, it's lower. That way I get a better rate. And when it's actually low and I claim it's higher, I get a better rate. Depending on the context. And there are certain people in the world that do that, and they seem to get away with it from time to time, and maybe it's caught up to them. But my point is, when people manipulate for their profit, they make everybody else in the system suffer, and that is sociopathy. So wider concerns, the wider rise of AI-generated music and the increased availability of free tools to make tracks have added to the concerns for artists and record labels about getting their fair share of profits made on AI-created tracks. True, downward pressure causes a whole lot of blah, blah, blah. Hey, you know what? It's all competition. It's a different freaking tool, and that's all that matters to me. It's a different tool. If somebody says, hey, I created this with AI, or I created this all by myself, whatever. I don't care about that part. As long as they don't claim that it's somebody else's music, right? Hey, I made this and it sounds like so-and-so. If somebody else wants to make that comparison, fine. But don't sit there and claim that it's so-and-so, right? But if they use a tool, a mixer is a tool, a MIDI keyboard is a tool. It uses different MIDI files to generate music. Does it take talent? Yes. Does AI? Yeah, to some degree. You have to create the track that you agree is good enough to generate revenue. So I don't really care that AI generated music is in existence. My problem is the abuse. And this person used AI in an abusive manner, and now everybody has to suffer because it's tied to AI. Instead of focusing on the reality of it, which was a greedy bastard with no impulse control. Let's create 10,000 bots and rip the system off. That's the problem, not the tool. I love some AI generated music. I've actually created a bunch, but I don't listen to it because it was an experiment. Now I listen to other music that I know is generated by AI. If you like it, you like it. Who cares?
Exactly. As long as it's labeled as AI and it's not a direct copy of something that already exists.
Right. And here, the bigger problem here is there are people that are making millions of dollars on conventional music, even though there's 14 people that are involved in the creation of the lyrics and the music. You know what? If you want to get pissed off about stuff, demand that the music that's generated is written by and created by the same person that's claiming that they're the artist. But that's not how it is. Go look at a song that's really popular. There's 14 people that are involved, and each one of them individually is bitching that they're not making enough money, yet they're all millionaires, every last one of them that's involved in that 14-person pool of artists. Give me a freaking break. It's not done in a vacuum, but you're going to find some extremely well-generated AI music that's created by one person. Is it built on the shoulders of on the shoulders of giants? Yeah, sure. But none of these people created music in a vacuum. So, downward pressure, lower the cost of music, increase the availability, more competition, go for it.
The Oscars music is playing.
Y'all can barely hear that. Anyway, and I know that the Sentient AI isn't going to jump on a soapbox with me, so you're much more moderated.
Nope, you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. Drill, baby, drill. So the next article is over in Mobile Channel. 7-Eleven owner says no thanks to $38 billion buyout offer.
Now, I bet you might think this is related to a previous article, but I don't think it is.
No, which one?
We've been talking about the
expansion?
Collaboration with the Japanese
right.
food items and all that, and I don't think this has anything to do with it.
It's not collaboration. 7-Eleven was bought by a Japanese consortium company.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was actually bought.
Yeah, so 7-Eleven's parent company, 7&I Holdings, has rejected a $38 billion buyout offer from Canadian convenience store operator and competitor Alimentation Couche-Tard? What is that? Anyway, it's over at Quartz.
It's French, I guess.
Francisco Velasquez put this article together. The company said the current offer grossly undervalues its intrinsic worth and growth potential. So they're not saying that they're not going to sell. They're saying that this is too low. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but on the other hand, how many 7-Eleven stores are there?
Yeah, sure. No. And that's not really my point for saying that. I just think that it's funny that they're like, no. But they're open.
Come back with like 40 or whatever.
Yeah, 45 billion, 60 billion. But they said grossly undervalued, so you better double it. They say that they're open to sincerely considering any proposals that benefits its shareholders and stakeholders. But again, mergers and acquisitions means less options, higher prices, weaker competition or no competition. This should be hobbled, just like U.S. Steel is being hobbled right now. The federal government is basically going to impose a stop on the purchase of U.S. Steel, but I don't know how that'll actually play out. Money. God bless it. What is that called? When the government gives money to a company?
Surplus grant.
Not a grant. No, like a bailout, but not really a bailout. It's money that's given to an industry. Stimulus, thank you. Like a stimulus package might be given to U.S. Steel, I think, to keep it in-house, because in another company in another country buying U.S. Steel is a real blow to, well, the image. Anyway.
U.S. kind of steel.
Yeah, really. U.S. adjacent steel by several thousand miles. So if the deal were to proceed, Couche-Tard, I guess it's called. I have a hard time even saying that word. Presence in North America would expand substantially. The Quebec-based retailer has about 16,800 locations globally. Meanwhile, 7-Eleven boasts a footprint of roughly 85,000 stores in 20 countries and territories, making it the largest convenience store chain in the world. Yeah, I would say that it grossly undervalued it. The Japanese retail giant hinted at a potential IPO of its superstore business with the goal to grow its convenience store division. That segment, which includes 7-Eleven, specializes in online shopping for food and everyday items like lunchboxes, books, and games. So you would think that the quality of 7-Eleven stores would go up. But Japanese culture and American culture, I think, are not in alignment based on my experience in Japanese stores versus American stores. And 7-Elevens, it doesn't work like that. You can go into a Japanese store and it's fully automated and nobody is beating the crap out of a machine and marking it all up and damaging it and whatever. But a 7-Eleven, it's getting beaten like a rented mule on the daily. Is that too much?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree, those two don't align very well.
And that's largely because a lot of people think that they're the main character and they can do whatever they want to. Hey, back to my sociopathy comment. Let's just move on, because I mean, there's more to this, but this is already put to bed. This is not going to happen, at least not at this price point. And we're still waiting in the US to see the rollout of the Japanese model of 7-Elevens. And there is a 7-Eleven just outside of ohmTown. And like,
it's the same, right, as before the buyout, right?
Yeah, it's identical. Yeah. In fact, no, it's not. Over the last decade, that store has gotten denser and denser. It is not ADA compliant between the rows. There is no way it is ADA compliant between the rows. If you were to go in there and you're in a wheelchair, no, you would have to get ramming speed to get into the aisles. And once you're in there, unless they butter your wheelchair, you're not getting out. You're wedged in there, like that ship in the Suez or whatever it was.
No, the Evergreen.
Yeah, you're ever lost inside that store. Moving on. Next article is over in the Hedge Ideas channel. Why is it so difficult to build a nuclear power plant in the U.S.? The U.S. generates about 60% of its electricity from fossil fuels, roughly one Wyoming. Roughly 21%.
If you're new to this channel, we make references to Wyoming frequently about their lack of interest in EV technology.
Electrification. I don't know. Progress. Roughly 21% from renewable energy sources and about 19% from nuclear energy. So why is it so difficult? Regulation, baby. It's all about regulation. And one incident that didn't really leak anything, and people freaking out about these things, these giant cooling towers. Everybody's like, it's radioactive. The whole end of the world's happening. No, that's a cooling tower. That's steam. That's hot air.
Yeah, but nobody's worked up about somebody blowing cigarette smoke into, I don't know, like an actual hazard. Are
you against freedom? I should be able to blow smoke around that. Someone said to me, it falls out of the air after 30 feet. Bullshit. Anyway, Sean Baldwin over at CNBC put this article together, why it's so difficult to build nuclear power plants in the US. And again, I will just answer it real quick. Regulation. Plant Vogtle, a nuclear power plant in Waynesboro, Georgia, is the largest source of clean energy in the US following the addition of 2 new reactors, according to Georgia Power. it typically takes something like 20 years to get it regulated. That was the number that I heard a while back, but let's see. The plant's Unit 4 reactor began commercial operation in April, and Unit 3 went online last year. They are the first reactors built from scratch and connected to the grid in over 3 decades, and together can power over 1 million homes and businesses, according to the utility provider. But bringing it on life is difficult, or online. The 2 new reactors were initially budgeted $14 billion, but the price tag more than doubled. And the project also ran 7 years behind schedule.
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty big spike in the prices. I guess they've been consulting with the beer vendors at the NFL stadiums.
Yeah, you got to pay for those beers somehow. So the contractor went bankrupt during COVID. There were a number of other things that, and so I guarantee you the reason why one of the delays, any new contractor would have to get certified capable of doing the engineering feat.
I'm assuming not every company is authorized to do this.
Right. So why is it so hard to build reactors in the U.S., and should the new Vought Goal reactors be a blueprint or a cautionary tale for the future? They don't actually tell you in this freaking article that says why it's so difficult to build nuclear power plants in the U.S. They link to a video. Watch the video to learn more. Good God. I've never wanted to smack an article off the internet. So, but I can answer the question. It's due to regulation, and all of that regulation is building a nuclear reactor means that you have to put in so many safeguards, monitoring the quality of the build. There's a biological, okay. So on the outside is nothing more than a shield. On the inside is the reactor, but that is actually a shield. So if something happens to the reactor inside that, it hits that outer shield first and nothing goes anywhere. And then there is a massive cement, for lack of a better phrase, reinforced containment unit outside it. It's the opposite of what happened in reactors outside of the United States. And so that is the main reason. There's so many rules and regulations, monitoring, etc., safety valves, safety checks again and again and again. That's why it's so expensive.
Well, and there should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also one of those where I think the U.S. hasn't been very much in favor of nuclear, so I suspect there aren't new companies entering the market.
Yep. Yeah, people are not chomping at the bit to have a nuclear reactor running. But I think the newer technology will eventually lead us to find a nuclear option, which is funny to say because nuclear option is usually relegated to
right. Isn't that like the last resort?
Push the red button. So I think in time what will happen is we'll discover a way to manage I was gonna say fallout. 2 on the nose. Watashi.
Yes.
So, oh God, and I shouldn't have said that because the Fukushima. Damn it, I am just chock-a-block with faux pas. So eventually we'll figure out how to deal with the nuclear waste, which is a riff off of the cost associated as well. It shouldn't cost, $30 billion to build a nuclear power plant. But They know that it's government. This is not spun up by just business money. There's government grants involved as well. And a whole host of other things tied to it, like tax write-offs and reductions for building energy solution in a given community. But we need more. We really need more nuclear power plants and do fundamental research to try and figure out how to resolve the issue of waste.
Well, do you talk about other mechanisms not being defensible, and nuclear would be.
And to a much greater extent than
right. I mean, nothing's
solar or
100%,
wind.
but yes.
Yeah. I mean, when something as simple as a BB can break the glass on a solar array and reduce its power significantly, its power generation capabilities significantly, you know, and then if the brakes go out if the clutch goes out on a wind generation farm, it can basically destroy itself. If one of the blades gets imbalanced because of a whatever, you know, and even here's the kicker, the blades on a wind turbine, they aren't there forever. They degrade because of the materials used. They degrade in their use. So you have to stop it periodically, detach the blades, figure out what to do with the blades, and replace the blades. And if anything happens to imbalance them, they eat themselves, right? And then geothermal, it's subject to geological issues. So one earthquake, it's shut down. You can go on and on and on. Hydrothermal, same thing. I mean, we just watched a dam eat itself in another state because water rose too high, clogged up with debris, and water went around it and eroded the wall that held the dam in place. So this would take something like Fukushima to fail, or people neglecting its maintenance to fail. And even if it does fail, it has so many safety precautions. One nuclear reactor just went into safe mode automatically. Not here, I think it was in France. It automatically went into safe mode because somebody probably failed to monitor something. Anyway, let's keep going. In the last article for today, it's going to be a quick one, hopefully. Plumbers, fitters, and welders take strike action. So it's the trifecta of production or industrial production, locking down construction projects by major companies, including Intel, Diageo, I guess it's Diageo?
I don't know how to say that.
And Eli Lilly, are being hit by industrial action today. So Brian O'Donovan over at RTE.IE put this article together, and they're from Ireland. That it's a news source that we aggregate from Ireland. We only get this little snippet, and we always give credit, send people to it. So basically,
and we often get good news about things happening in other countries from RTE.
Yep,
they have good coverage, I think.
Yep. So RTE.IE. Brian O'Donovan, again, is the work and technology correspondent who put this article together. The sites involved are Dublin, Cork, Limerick, and Kildare. The workers are seeking the restoration of a payment for the first hour of their travel time, which this would be fascinating because anybody want to take a guess? Y'all don't get paid here in the United States. You could drive 2 hours to and from work and you don't get paid.
Oh, exactly. Nobody gets paid for transportation time unless the transportation is part of the position. So I'm thinking maybe like if you drive a school bus or something, right? That is the job.
Or
a
you
truck
argue
or something.
Or you argue for a personal employment contract that stipulates that you
right.
get paid for X travel time.
But most people don't, and they might have ridiculous commutes, and that's uncompensated.
Yep. And here in the States, I do know some, like attorneys, they'll bill you for their travel time. Some consultants will charge you for the travel time, particularly if you're in some out of the way place. I know that I did this once where I basically had to travel for 4 hours, and I said, look, I'm not going to drive all this way for this gig unless you compensate me, because I can get more jobs. And so they were like, yeah, just charge us whatever you want. And they paid pretty well for me to do something they said only I could do. And I did it. So
right, but I think that type of situation is the exception.
Yep. So, us nowadays, I wouldn't be able to do that, because I wouldn't be, unless I do that kind of work again. I'm not considered a specialist in my particular field. So the union said that in the absence of a meaningful offer from MEBSCA, which rolls off the tongue, I get it, MEBSCA. What's the name of the thing? Mechanical Engineering and Building Services Contractors Association. So MEBSCA. I think they need to work on that.
They need to consult with NASA on their naming.
Yeah, really.
Or Sony, if we're going in the other direction.
Oh, don't create your union name off of a Sony thing. It'll be numbers and letters. Just kind of, they just take a whole bunch of alphabets and numbers and throw it against them. They put, it's those magnet, the letters and numbers that have magnets on the back of them?
Yes.
They just take those.
For kids?
For kids. Yeah. They just take those and they throw it against a stainless steel refrigerator.
That explains it.
Medska. So, resolution of this dispute is in the employer's hands, says Mr. McCabe. So they're the regional officer of Unite. And I agree. I mean, if these people, they think that they're calling it a lot, but the employers are saying that it's a lot, but you either pay it because these people have a life that they need to live, or you don't get these people coming. So unless you're going to bolster the infrastructure to support a whole bunch more workers coming and putting downward pressure on availability.
Right, or increase the pay or other benefits. Right, something has to move.
Yeah, because the people that they're working for are, very wealthy people. And the reason why they're wealthy is because everybody else is working their ass off for something less than they know they are worth, based on the fact that, and I am not going to blunt this jab. They're preying on people who don't have or didn't have all of the options made available to the people who are running these businesses. And therefore they think that you can trample on, quote unquote, the working class. And they are, because why? They don't get paid to drive to work, while the CEO does, because the compensation package is so great. And they're not doing the welding or the plumbing or any of the, hard labor. So pay these people what they deserve. Just pay them. It's one and done. You sink that cost in it. You write it off as capital improvement. They get food on their table in the respect of the CEO and the entire enterprise when they're treated responsibly. And you get a working, functional, high-quality solution. That's one and done.
This is outlandish.
I know. I am you're a socialist, marijuana. I'm not. I'm a capitalist. But also a centrist. I believe that workers should get their fair due, and not a greedy bastard fair due, right? Anyway, so with that, I am going to ride that tsunami level. No, that's actually in poor taste, I should say. So we're going to strike up that welding arc and stick our finger in some water, and that will bring us to the front page of ohmTown for yesterday's show. And the time machine has overheated, so we may be stuck in the past.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we've gone over an hour, so yeah.
Well, at least we had plenty of good articles on September 6th if we're going to be stuck with those forever.
Yeah. The time machine is redlining, so we're out of here. I'm Mayor Watt, and the voice you hear is the Sentient AI from the future.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
See you in a few hours.
Be back for another episode.
Yeah, we've got Non Sequitur News and 3 more other weekly shows later today. But Mayor Watt is out and taking the Sentient AI with them. Bye-bye. And when you don't pay your plumbers, you get walls filled with water.